Welcome back, everybody. I am the Otaku, and today we are looking at the Star Wars Battlefront T-21B blaster, or what I like to call the Marksman. The T-21B is described as a refined version of the T-21, which combines the power of a heavy blaster with the precision and range of a blaster rifle. I will be upfront with you and say that this blaster is going to be very similar to a sniper rifle, and therefore not going to be everyone's favorite cup of tea. Enough spoilers for now, let's just go ahead and see what it's made of. Then be sure to stick around for all the best tips and tricks on how to use it. Pulling up the stats for the T-21B, we want to first observe the damage chart in the middle. The 21B starts off doing 45 damage per shot, which will then start to decline at 10 meters. By 50 meters, the damage will have dropped down to 34 damage per shot, and will stay there for any range beyond that. So what that means is the T-21B is a 3-shot kill at close range, and then continues to be a 3-shot kill at all other distances. The reason for the damage drop-off over time, though, is simply that it allows you to kill opponents quicker that have already taken damage. For example, if within 10 meters, 2 shots will do 90 damage. The target only needs to take 10 more damage from somewhere else first to result in a more swift death. However, do not count on this being your saving grace, as you can't expect that situation to always happen. The rate of fire on the 21B is 180 rounds per minute, which is the same as the regular T-21 variant, yet the behavior between these two blasters is fundamentally different. The 21B version is not an automatic fire rifle. You do need to click that button every single time you want to shoot. Normally, you would consider the automatic fire to be superior, but considering the slow rate of fire with the high damage output on these blasters, you really do want to lead, time, and aim each of your shots perfectly, and so having automatic fire is not really part of the equation. The 21B can only shoot 7 rounds before overheating, so this is going to further emphasize the fact that you want to make your shots count. By taking the time to properly aim before each shot or each kill, you can really help offset this problem. If you just blast away, praying to hit your targets, then you're probably going to have to stop or overheat very often. But also, let's face it, not everyone has perfect aim, targets are moving and can be difficult to hit at varying ranges, so there are going to be times when you simply cannot stop and you do overheat and lose your cool. If that happens, just do your best, trigger the recycle on the cooling, and go from there. The 21B has a recoil pattern of 0.15 horizontal to the left, 0 horizontal to the right, and then 0.25 vertical. This is a little bit of a strange recoil pattern, but considering that it's actually so little, it doesn't really mean much of a difference anyway. It's not going to give you any problems. The blaster comes with a base spread of 0 and increases at 0.05 per shot. This is also so little that you shouldn't even notice it, and it doesn't need to be a concern. The conclusion that we can draw from these statistics is that it's a high damage, low rate of fire, and very, very accurate blaster. This, to me, spells out that it's a sniper rifle and meant for marksman-like shooting. This is pretty much exactly what you should expect from it and how you should treat it. So with that being said, much like a sniper rifle, this blaster is just not going to give you the quick enough time to kill to perform well at close distances. I even took a peek at the time to kill charts on simthic.com, which are linked in the description below, and it's very clear that the T-21B does not even compete with other blasters until it's at least 30 meters out. Before that range, do expect to get your butt kicked more often than not. Of course, there are always two sides to a coin, and by about 45 to 50 meters out, the T-21B is in its prime. You are tied for first place with the T-21 regular variant for the fastest time to kill. Yet the T-21B version will surpass everything else at this range because it has the pinpoint accuracy to do so. The low recoil and low spread on this blaster make it able to perform its job exactly the way it needs to. There are no hidden variants, no strange behaviors, and nothing confusing to worry about. Being able to secure kills with this blaster is going to be a direct reflection of your skills and ability to time, lead, and aim your shots properly. So aside from being able to actually use the blaster to its full potential, what else is there? Well, there is two other very important things that you should at least consider. The first thing you want to consider is your positioning. The T-21B does require you to be at least 30 meters for it to be in effective ranges, and ideally we would want 45 to 50 for the optimal range. That may sound a little nuts, but do not worry, the T-21B does come with a full zooming scope that will help you easily place shots at those range. What you really need to worry about is how you're going to maintain that distance from the enemy while still being an effective player on the battlefront. You may be thinking that you can just camp out somewhere, but you need to consider how is that benefiting your team. If you've watched my other videos, then especially the T-21, then you have already heard me say this, but there isn't an easy way to do it. You can't avoid close quarters while also still actively doing objectives. Most objectives are placed in areas with a decent amount of cover and engagement ranges of 0 to 30 meters, which is our worst positioning for the T-21B. There also isn't an ideal position for you to be on in every single type of map and game mode, so you do need to think about the kind of role that you are going to play. To help you out a bit with that, I will give you a good idea of what I like to do. For example, if I am on Ender, I will find myself usually up on walkways or the very side of mountains, taking out the enemies from a distance, which you would expect. But I also make sure that my positioning is close enough to where my team is and where the objectives are that I can be actively benefiting them by clearing the field, providing that support so they can push forward. Also, if you paid attention to the video footage here, you would see another good example of what I do in situations. In this example, my team is getting dominated and pushed back very far during a game of supremacy. I positioned myself the best that I could and put my sole focus on cleaning out the enemies that are engaging my team, so my team would be able to push forward. However, do take note that no matter how many people I killed, they simply refused to push up and we ended up losing the game. So that just goes to show you that killing a lot of players alone does not win most of the games. And that's why I make a fuss about also trying to actively do objectives. For star cards and other loadout variables, I do prefer to use something like Scan Pulse, because if I find myself moving in on objectives, I can still easily get the jump on enemies to help balance out my class, especially in close quarters where I'm weakest. Also, it will allow you to simply avoid enemies if need be. The Scout trait also works perfectly with this kind of playstyle as well. It will let you stay off the map while moving around and you're most vulnerable, and also stay off the map when you're shooting from your sniper vantage point. You can also consider using something like the Scout pistol for those close quarters engagements. That thing is really powerful if you have the accuracy to use it, and will help balance out your character as a whole. And if you're the type of player that uses the T-21 to begin with, then you should have no problem connecting those shots. Other than that, do what makes you happy, feel free to experiment, try it out, then come back and leave a comment to let me know how it goes. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm addicted to your love and support, so please make sure to like and subscribe. Look forward to tons of great content to come, but until then, as always, may the Force be with you.